Here's my review of Lisa Frankenstein. This movie is kind of insane in a good way because, it's combining a lot of really completely polar opposite subjects, whether it's like horror, comedy, and then romance. Obviously rom-coms exist, but like the horror aspect where where our main character is, of course, Lisa, who clearly right off the bat you could tell she's not all there. There's something off, but we understand because at the beginning of the movie, her mother is murdered, and so you could tell. That kind of like sets her off a little bit, and we could tell she's kind of already a little off, and so that now she's living with her stepmother and her stepsister, and her stepsister is what grounds her to reality. Like her stepsister Taffy, like she's kind of completely normal, and it's like one of those things where like if Taffy also wasn't in the movie, it's another thing like where I don't think Lisa's character could even work at all just because of how crazy she is. Because, as I said, you need that something to ground you to reality. But where she's really weird is she has a crush. And that crush happens to be a corpse from the 1800s. And like I said, right off the bat, they also acknowledge that like that's obviously really, really weird. But like I said, like you obviously know that Lisa herself is clearly a little off. Like there's obviously something wrong. It's obviously, of course, because of like the trauma of losing her mother. It makes sense. And that's like the basic setup for this movie. Like, a lot of this movie is also where, because she's so crazy, she kills her stepmom. And then a lot of the movie is them also trying to like, it's this cover up of them trying to make sure, like, her and the corpse, making sure that like, they obviously don't get caught. That's a big part of this. That's like the main plot of this movie. And yeah, it is very entertaining. It's very fun. It's very weird. And it's a trailer. Like, you watch the trailer. If you like the trailer, you should know that is what this movie is. And it's a movie where you kind of know what you're going to get. I will say, like, Cole Sprouse does such a great job. For someone who doesn't speak and is just acting with just his eyes, I think that he does a great job. He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't speak the whole time. So it's interesting. Whenever you have a main character that doesn't speak, it's really up to their movements, their eyes. And it's almost a thing where even if they're not talking, you can tell what they're thinking. You can tell how they feel. And I think that he did a great job. And it's a character where, like I said, you can't speak, but you still really enjoy it. You feel like you know this character, even though they don't speak the whole time. And, like, then another part of this movie is, like, just the weird, obviously, just the absurdity of, like, there's literally just a dress-up party between Lisa and this corpse. And, like I said, this whole movie is just crazy. It's insane. And that's what kind of makes it very interesting to talk about is, like, it's not like that thing to ground your reality. Like, this is clearly a movie that knows what it is. It knows that it's crazy, and I think that works for it very well. I will say, like, it's also another one of those movies where they're talking about, like, this relationship, and, like I said, with this character, you still have to, like, kind of think, like, logically. It's like, this is still a corpse. Like, when they're talking, like, when they're talking about having an intimate relationship, it's like, this isn't really gonna work. It's this whole thing is like, you just kind of have to go with it. It's like, it's one of those movies, like, you can't keep questioning it, even though I kind of was. But at a certain point, I'm just like, I'm just going with it. So yeah, the big part of this movie is, like, this investigation for, like, because they killed their mother and then, stepmother, and then them trying to figure out, like, trying not to get caught, as well as her kind of becoming more, like, this corpse is making her basically kind of have more personality and be less weird, ironically. Well, more weird, but I guess shown more, where she's kind of like a nobody in school, and then she starts dressing different, acting different. And it's just, like I said, it's crazy. It's an insane movie. So with a movie like this, It's a movie that knows what it is. It's very campy. It's not scary. Like, obviously, they have like some of the body horror of it, but it's not like super gory. It's more like gross because throughout the movie, he also like, if he cries, it's like this green, like, I don't even know what, something from a corpse, and it obviously smells horrible. And this is a movie where you, like I said, I keep saying this whole time, if you like absurdist comedies, if you like just absurd, crazy, wild, weird movies, you will like this. But I think that this is a movie that you're kind of either going to really have a good time with it or absolutely hate it. And like I said, it I thought it was a lot of fun, but I think that some people might not like it. But overall, I had a really, really fun time with it. I do think it felt at sometimes like a little directionless. Like the whole, obviously they like, oh, she resurrects the corpse, and then like then out of it is them trying to avoid murder. But then other than that, it's like, well, being prosecuted for murder. Then other than that, a lot of it is like, what are we even working towards? It doesn't really feel like there's an end goal. So I think that's like a story point. Like it feels like sometimes at points we're just kind of directionless, not really doing anything. But I thought for the most part, I thought this was a really fun movie, and I had a really fun time with it.